Hello everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candace Marie. Thanks for joining me. Happy Saturday everybody. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'm excited to be doing live readings tonight on the channel. As always, we do live readings here. You can catch me here at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Hello, that's the old time. I'm totally at Mercury retrograde right now. So we're now doing it at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, right? Yeah, okay. Got me. Welcome back, guys. We're going to be doing these live readings this week. It's going to be tarot. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm a Western astrologer, and I also focus on doing clairvoyant and tarot readings. It's a little bit of a triple threat. You can get a reading tonight by scanning the QR code below. So if you scan that QR code, it's going to take you directly to my PayPal. You can make a donation. It's $20 for one card, $40 for 3 cards. Please, please, please put your question in the memo. If you showed up here for astrology, do not fret. We will be back next week. Next Saturday, we'll be doing astrology readings. So one more week, it's going to be tarot this evening. And while I've got you, please do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up. Sharing is caring if you want to share this with other people. How's everybody doing? I know a couple people have gotten in here early. So yes, I have a running list of people. Just want to say a big shout out to all my level 3 and level 2 people. I definitely want to give my shout outs, but I have to tell you, this list is growing. So bear with me as I say thank you to all of my level 2 and 3. And also, if you have not already cashed in on your reading for this month, this is going to be the last live that I'm going to be doing for this month. So if you're level 3 and you want to get your reading, now's the chance. But in the meantime, I just want to say a big thank you to Barbara, Christine, Patricia, Sarah, Coco, Deanna, Penny, Maui, Catherine Murray, Claudia, SM, Tiara, Paula, Stephanie, Angela, Flowing Through the Pines, Willow, Emma, Susan, Miss Fogel, Jackie, Harazed, Nancy Celerito, Jessica Martinez, Susan Wexler, My Oh My. Some of you guys have been supporting the channel for a year and a half. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys so very much. And let's go ahead and get into it. I'll give you guys a running list of who I have, who's already signed up, because I know some of you guys have already jumped in there. So I've got Victoria has signed up, along with Sabrina J. I've got a Me Candles, but I don't know who that is, and I need your question. Kara, Claire, there might be some more. And let's see who's here. What's up, CC? Hey, Dreaming with Chess. Thank you for your donation. I'm happy to do a reading for you if you want to ask me a question. Appreciate your generosity. What's up, Patrick? Yes, I live in Texas now. It's okay. You can put your question if you like. What's going on, Rachel? Happy Saturday. Tess has questions about career and finances. Okay, Victoria, let me know. What's up, Sabrina? Hi, Heidi. Okay, so Heidi, send me your question. I appreciate it, guys. We're going to go and be answering in the order that I received the donation. So you might want to have a drink or a snack on hand. Hello, I'm so tongue-tied today. Can you guys tell? And we will kind of get started with these readings. So let me pull up my level 3 people. I know we had a handful of people last week. Any level 3 people here? Bueller? If not, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Oh, hello, Coco. Kara is your legal name. Gotcha. Hey, Queen of Wands. How's it going? Tess says, how do you like Texas? Well, the people here are a lot friendlier than they are. I lived in Los Angeles for 15 years, and then I lived in Vegas for a couple years, and everybody in Texas has been very, very, very sweet. I went to the grocery store earlier, and I came back, and I was like, everybody's just very friendly here. So it's different for me, but I like it. Glad I moved before the retrograde happened in my 4th house. But I'm still feeling the effects of it nevertheless. HEB. I told my husband, I was like, I can't go to the grocery store anymore. I came back with like 4 packs of sushi. Oh, you're a Texan now. Yeah, I am in Texas to stay. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll take Victoria first, and then we've got Sabrina and me candles on deck. What's up, Jessica? How's it going? Thank you, Queen of Wands. I appreciate you. Those of you guys who are just joining us, we're doing live readings, and also give you guys a heads up. We are going to be doing a New Year's Day special. So usually I put out my Sunday video, obviously at, early in the morning, 7 a.m. my time. We're not going to be doing that because I'm going to be doing a show that's going to be at 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. There's already a link. You guys can check it out. But I'm going to be streaming live for free. If you guys want to show up and donate, you're more than welcome to do that. I have a whole presentation on the biggest transits of 2023. We're going to do a Wheel of the Year spread. We're going to talk about all the aspects that are going on. We're going to look at the eclipses, and we're going to break it down to see what's going on for each and every one of the 12 signs. It's going to be several hours long, I'm sure. So join me, bring champagne, bring champagne and good times. We're going to be hanging out pretty much all afternoon talking about 2023. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get started with Victoria. Thank you for sending your question. Victoria says, what is the outcome with me and the guy who broke my heart? Will he come to his senses, and will there be a reconciliation? Can you guys tell that Mercury is retrograde conjunct Pluto and Venus? We're gonna hear a lot of these questions this evening. And yes, Mercury officially started its retrograde in Capricorn. So that tight conjunction to Venus-Pluto is a lot of, are they going to come back stuff? So let's see, let's find out what the cards say for Victoria. All right, so in this order, we've got King of Wands, Queen of Swords, King of Pentacles. There's a few too many cooks in the kitchen, but what's interesting is that none of these cards talk about reconciliation, people coming back, nothing like that. However, it fascinates me that the Queen of Cups is sitting in between the two kings. All right, so I don't know what sign they are or what sign you are. This can be talking about the element of air, so it can be talking about somebody who's an Aquarius or a Libra or a Gemini, a woman who is a water type energy, so that can be a Cancer or a Scorpio or a Pisces, and then we've got King of Pentacles, who would be an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Archetypally, it can represent people who are similar to these personality types. Okay, so kings in general are masters of their trade or of their particular element. King of Swords is somebody who communicates well, super direct, forthcoming, can be really stern and can be a little bit more serious, but very insightful and very intelligent. So he means what he says what he means. Queen of Cups sitting in the middle is interesting because that can be talking about you, right? From an emotional perspective, being really reminiscent, connected, sensitive, emotional, like feeling deeply emotionally connected to this person. But then we've got in the future position, the King of Pentacles. So in some sense, this could represent a totally different person. That's like, this person's in the past. Here you are working on, your emotional well-being, taking care of yourself, loving yourself, focusing on yourself. And then we've got King of Pentacles, which in some certain situations can literally represent a completely different person who's coming forward. For cliffhanger readings like this, I always look at the bottom of the deck. So I'll put that in the center so you can see that. Just as a confirmation, that's like, is it him coming back in a different way, or is there going to be another person that you're going to be connecting to or meeting? The moon card says, look to what's happening around the lunar transits. Okay, so this could be the next full moon. We've got a big one that's going to be coming around January 6th. That's going to be in the sign of Cancer. Ironically, the moon is connecting to Cancer. The moon card talks about your intuition, what's going on behind the scenes, what you don't see coming. So intuitively, I get the feeling that's like, okay, you're asking about this person from the past. Are they going to come back, and are they going to like realize that they screwed up and now they're ready to be together? The tarot's being kind of sassy, and it's basically saying, you're resisting staying open to the reason as to why he left, right? Because it seems to be insinuating there's another person coming in. So that doesn't make me feel like there's a reconnection with him. On the flip side, if he does come back around, it might be very suddenly and unexpectedly, and it may not be something that you're anticipating that's going to happen. And when he does come around, the King of Pentacles makes me feel like he may not necessarily be super warm. There can be this sense of him being like, well, I'm here, I'm sussing the situation out, and he can still kind of leave you second guessing the dynamic. And it's like, why did he come back? What is it that he wants? Like what's the purpose for this? Still, I'm gonna go with my original kind of gut feeling on this, where the cards are essentially saying in so many ways, let go of the connection that you have with him. Focus more on yourself. Queen of Cups talks about self-love, meditating, reflecting, healing. This can literally be like sitting with your emotions and your feelings. Super common, you know, it's like, well, well, they're not going to come back. Why are they not coming back? What's the problem? The Queen of Cups is saying that the more that you focus on self-nurturing, the more likely you're vibrationally going to get into the state of bringing in somebody who you can hold on to. The King of Pentacles is solid, right? He's intelligent, he's reliable, he's financially secure. There's a lot more maturity here. It's not as airy-fairy as the element of air. Not that the King of Swords isn't reliable, but the King of Pentacles is somebody who's literally going to go, here you go, this is what I want. Are you ready for what I'm looking for, right? And the Moon card is saying that you're not, like, it's almost like you're anxious that you're not wondering if you're going to connect with him or not. But you have yet to see some of this be unveiled. Like the Moon card is saying that more is about to be revealed to you, perhaps through your dreams. It can also be through you kind of sitting and meditating and using forms of divination, because the Moon card and the Queen of Cups makes me feel like tarot, astrology, dream interpretation, anything that you want to use to be able to kind of tap into your intuition. So I would be less consumed with, when is he coming back? When am I going to connect to him? I'd be more consumed with, why did he leave and what else is coming? What else does the universe have in store for me? And not being fearful or scared of the potential of not connecting with him, because the Moon card can talk about the fear of, oh, well, what if he doesn't come back? Well, what if he doesn't, somebody else better shows up, right? Good luck. Sometimes the tarot gets sassy like that, and it's gonna tell you a completely different answer. Good luck, good luck. Scorpio, Libra Moon, Scorpio Sun, yep. Can you post the link to pay? I'm unable to click the pinned one. Yeah, we'll get that reposted for you. What's up, Adrian? Thank you for your generosity. Hey, Juliana. Hey, Adriana. Is there another way to book? Super stickers are $19.99 or $49.99. Yeah, scan the QR code, guys. If you have a cell phone, you can scan that. And if you're on a desktop, it'll take you directly there. Let go of the fear of him not returning. That is correct, because somebody else more solid is on the way. And kings sometimes have a tendency to show up around the time of their elements. So, I mean, we're in Capricorn season. So Capricorn season, Taurus season, those might be times where you see them kind of show up. Good luck, good luck. Let's see, who else do we got here? We've got Sabrina. She says, 3-card tarot reading. What's next in my relationship with my boyfriend? I'm looking for marriage. Will he take things to the next level and introduce me to his parents? I'm a Taurus sun, Cancer moon, Scorpio rising. All right, so you've got eclipses in your 7th. You've also got Saturn moving into your 5th next year. So you're really focused on commitment. Venus and Mars and Pisces. Okay, so that's good, because Saturn is coming into conjunction with those placements. So in this next year, as Saturn gets close to your Venus and your Mars, it's about commitment and true love and talking about starting a family. He's a Cancer sun, Capricorn moon. So he's born on a full moon, and he's an Aquarius rising, Mars and Leo. Okay, let's take a look. I like the sun-moon combination. Those Cancer sun, Capricorn moons are interesting. And he's got a retrograde in his 12th right now, and Saturn's still in his 1st. But next year when Saturn goes into Pisces, it's going to trine his Venus. Okay, so let's take a look. So she wants to know, what's next with this relationship with her boyfriend? Is she going to be his parents? Is he going to get serious? I will say the astrology is on your side, though. with some of those placements that you have. So I've got the Three of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, followed by the Five of Swords. And so some rough cards for sure, but in my opinion, looking at the Three of Swords coming up, I think that what you're dealing with can be some fear and some anxiety, because in the past, like, you got your hopes up or you got your feelings hurt or you were super invested and it didn't pan out, right? So that's the past. Definitely one of the more difficult cards. Obviously, it speaks for itself. Three of Swords talks about kind of like pulling the knives out of your heart and, like, you know, focusing on being able to do the triage and heal yourself. Queen of Pentacles reversed makes me wonder, like, do you know anything about the relationship that he has with his mother, right? I mean, obviously we know that he's a full moon baby, but I think that there's something there. Like, the Queen of Pentacles is like, is he close with his mom? Has there been issues with his mom getting along with people that he's been dating? Does he have a tendency to kind of be fussy about bringing people around her? This can literally be talking about like a woman who's like cold and really difficult to please, right? Queen of Pentacles is somebody who may be super traditional, or she might be kind of arrogant or difficult to kind of get along with. Anything like that? You know anything about this? Because personally, I feel like the focus should not necessarily be on the relationship being defined based off like meeting his parents. Also, just knowing that he's got the sun moon opposition, and yeah, I would say that that also makes me feel like there can definitely be some strong opinions in terms of like his relationship with both of his parents, or like a really interesting story about how his parents, you know, were in relationship, because the opposition full moon can literally be separations. So I wouldn't be so consumed with meeting her. I think the Queen of Pentacles reversed, if you're saying the relationship's a bit rocky currently, it can also be speaking to the fact that you're kind of feeling like you're getting the cold shoulder, right? Queen of Pentacles reversed. Not feeling as physically connected or not feeling as solid in the relationship. The last card is the Five of Swords. So it definitely makes me feel like it's not a situation that you want to fight or argue about. The Five of Swords talks about literally laying your sword down, laying your weapons down, like not feeling like it needs to turn into an argument. I feel like there can be sensitivity on both sides. Like, there can be a sense of you being like, why don't you want to introduce me to your parents? What's the problem? Like, why aren't we moving forward? And then in the back of his mind, he's like, I don't really want to do that, because as soon as I bring my family in on the relationship, then there's some kind of drama, or my mom's judgmental, and I don't want that to be affecting the relationship. And like, you guys can be triggering each other, right? So be cautious of the things that are not being said. I'm just catching up on your messages. Yeah, he was telling me the things aren't the best right now with his parents. Both of them, they're divorced. Okay, so I don't know them. I don't know the situation. I literally feel like looking at this, I would just be really mindful in terms of feeling like you have to see both of them at the same time. If you had to take your pick, I would say probably trying to connect with the father first, because it may not be the easiest time to connect with the mom. And also realize that with the Five of Swords reversed, it's basically saying like, be careful how you guys communicate, because there can be a sense of people saying things and like throwing, you know, verbal barbs, and like people getting their feelings hurt and like saying things that you can't come back from, right? You know, Saturn's coming into your 5th house next year, and it's going to come within range of both apparently your Venus and your Mars. I think you said you have both of them in Pisces. So Venus rules your 7th house of relationships. Mars rules your chart because you're a Scorpio rising. So as Saturn is coming into conjunction with those placements, Saturn is about time and structure. And Saturn rules the 3rd house, which means you guys are going to start having conversations like, are we going to be moving in together? 3rd house is movement. Are we going to start talking about whether or not we're interested in long-term commitment, right? Saturn can be glue. 5th house is children. So it's like through that Saturn transit, thankfully it's going to sextile Uranus in your 7th house. So you can suddenly have positive conversations and lay the groundwork to be able to have like upgrades in your relationship. And you're going to see that Saturn is going to trine your ascendant as a Scorpio rising. So the astrology is on your side. I would just say, don't let the past influence, you know, how you're behaving and how you're communicating with him. Don't take it personally if it takes a little bit longer to meet his mom. And I would just be very careful about how you guys communicate and how you word this when it comes to talking to him and expressing to him why that's important, right? As a Scorpio rising, Saturn is still in your 4th house, and it's still squaring in Uranus in your 7th, which means there is some tug of war going on, some push-pull between your home base or families, and also your partner. I don't think I've spoken to a single Scorpio rising that either has not had that conflict in terms of family and relationships, or they're seeing it in their relationships, like in general. Like they may have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a spouse, whatever, that's having drama with their parents. So it sounds like you're kind of hearing that in terms of your boyfriend's parents going through a separation and a divorce. This will calm down. We're not going to see the square anymore next year. And I would just say maybe start with kind of explaining to him that you feel like relationships in the past fell apart because you were super invested, and you regret not having conversations and laying the groundwork in terms of what you were looking for. And for Scorpio risings, it's a really important time to be kind of getting to the core of what it is that you want in committed relationships and really defining like love, right? So you're going to find as Saturn goes through the 5th house, a lot of people that I've seen end up getting married or engaged during those transits, or they end up meeting like the love of their life, or they have their first child. So it's going to be 2.5 years of you having that. The astrology is on your side. Just communicate clearly and don't let fear kind of run the show. Okay. Good luck. Good luck. All right. So Queen of Wands got in. What's up, Divine Healing Tarot? Happy Saturday. So we've got Candles, Kara, and Claire. You guys are going to be the next ones on deck. You are so welcome. Yep, I got you, Tess. Got a whole slew of people here. So we'll do Tess. You're going to get thrown in there too. Don't worry. Let me scroll up and see. Jessica, are you still here? Do you want to ask a question? Let me know. Okay, so where did we have? Who was Candles? Sorry, guys. Oh, okay, Jess, thank you. I'll get you in just a second. You guys have to remind me who had me Candles. Is that, and I see Heidi. I see you there. Is that you, Heidi? Oh yeah, that's you. Will I sell my butcher shop? All right, good question. I gotta tell you, Heidi, with Jupiter getting ready to go into Taurus, if you're a butcher shops are going to be something that is going to be rather valuable over the next 2 years, especially specialty shops. Let's take a look. Thank you, Miss V. I'll add you to the queue. Jupiter is wealth. Taurus is money. It's also cows. So I can only imagine how valuable a butcher shop is going to be starting in the spring. But let's see. So is she going to sell her butcher shop? All right, so this is the order that I have. Queen of Swords coming up here with the Death card and the Magician. Heidi says her birthday is 4/19/63. Well, then you should mark on your calendar for your birthday this year. You're going to be having a solar eclipse on your birthday. Okay, so that is like a new moon on steroids. And when you have a birthday that has a new moon, it means it's a fresh start for you for the year ahead. Everything's new. Definitely consider getting a solar return reading. Find an astrologer that you dig and book with them, because it's going to be a very important birthday, because likely whatever's happening is setting the stage for like the next 9 to 18 years. No pressure or anything. Go back in time 17, 18 years ago and look at what you started back then. That'll give you an idea of what kind of happened. Okay. So we've got Queen of Swords. So this is talking about direction, communication, talking to people, being able to possibly even sell something, getting the word out. I think of the Queen of Swords as like getting the word out. Now this can also be talking about you talking to another woman about your business. It can be that there can be a woman who can inquire about it. She might talk to you about the process of taking it over. She may be an air sign, so it can be like a Gemini or a Libra or an Aquarius. It's the Death card for me that really makes me feel like there's some resistance here, resistance or funding issues, right? So the Death card reversed, the death in general always talks about like a difficult or a challenging ending, but on the other side of that is a new beginning. So when the death card comes up reverse, it's saying you're resisting the change, you're resisting the shift, right? Sometimes this can also talk about funding, financing, loans, debt in regards to the business in general, difficult changes. So I'm wondering, like, are you deciding to sell because of financial reasons, or are you deciding to sell because you're like, I don't want to feel like I have to, keep up with this, or I'm just finally really ready for a change. This is a major arcana card. The Magician is a major arcana card. These two together are very interesting. This is the energy of Mars. This is more the energy of Mercury and Jupiter. Okay, so retirement. Here's the thing. I definitely do think that it's going to sell. I have a feeling that there may be some changes that are going to be made either to the shop or the branding or something right before you decide that you're going to make the sale. This talks about October, November. So this can be the time that you started thinking about being like, okay, I'm done. The Magician is going to talk more about kind of like mercurial periods. So we're in a Mercury retrograde right now. It's going to be like that until about mid-January. We're going to have another one that's going to be in April, May. Personally, you do what you want to do, but just knowing that in this next year, Jupiter and Pluto coming into a square with each other, and Jupiter's going to touch on the North Node, you're probably looking at getting more bang for your buck for your business in April, May of 2023. The Death card is also saying that, you're saying, okay, this is an ending. I'm good here. I'm ready to go. But are you really done working? Because there's a sense of me feeling like, yeah, you might pull money out of the sale and go, okay, well, now I'm going to retire. But the Magician is saying there's something else that you're going to be starting. So it's like almost funding some new idea that you're going to have. Also, if this is something that you've been doing for a while, you're very knowledgeable. Because the Queen of Swords coming up can talk about the fact that I don't think you just own the business, you know a lot about what you're doing. So I don't know if you're a butcher or if you've been in, processing meat or anything like that, but you have a lot of information. So I'm wondering, like, do you decide, if you can't sell it yet, do you bring people in and train them and make money and therefore make lemonade? Because you might be able to train people who can come in, who can end up working there, and you can go, I can still have the business and bring the money in. I'm training people to do things ethically and do it the right way, but I don't have to physically be there working, right? So that's a big deal. If you've been doing that for 40 years, that's more than a Saturn cycle. But the Death card is also saying, like, I'm sick of having to kind of push against the current. So I can't tell you this enough, all right? Over the next 2 years, specialty butcher shops, people who know how to thoroughly work and preserve and utilize all of an animal, are going to be filthy rich. Literally. So I have a good feeling that if you were open to hanging out a little bit longer and training people, they're in turn creating more better, well-rounded, better educated butchers, and also bringing people in that you can employ so you don't have to physically do the work, is probably a really good idea, right? Really good idea, especially if you specialize in specific cuts or things like that. So the Magician is like literally saying, how do I take shit and turn it into gold? So if you're feeling like, oh, I can't, compete with some of these bigger stores, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. In so many ways, people don't realize that once Uranus goes into Gemini, it will with Saturn. Okay, this is going to be in a while, but it's going to be there. When this transit happens, we're bringing all of the shopping back to communities. Okay, so we're not going to be going out at that period of time and being like, I'm going to Walmart or I'm going to Target. Like we're not going to be doing that. It's going to be like, I drive down the street and I go to my butcher shop. I want to buy a pair of shoes. I go to like the cobble maker, whatever. It'll be more modern, obviously. But you're going to have specialty shops. So I feel inclined to tell you, don't give up yet. Try to make lemonade of the situation. Please do seriously consider writing a book, maybe doing a podcast, maybe doing training or courses and bring people in, because you could make a ton of money being able to do that. Isn't a cobble maker, it's shoes, right? That's what the people used to make shoes. I don't think they call it that anymore, but Anyway, definitely my preference. And I think that there's going to be something there's something very big that's going to be in the making next year. Please, please, please make sure you get a birthday reading. Do it like a month before your birthday, so you're ready before the eclipse, and you have somebody good who can talk to you and explain to you about how significant this is. The North Node is going to be, thank you, Cobbler. There we go, Cobbler. We're going to have an eclipse that's going to be on your sun on your birthday. And then a couple of months later, not very long, then Jupiter will cross 29 degrees. It'll hit that. And it's like whatever you've started or whatever you've initiated is going to be big. Okay? Definitely book a solar return reading. Good luck. I want to see that be as successful as it looks like it will. Don't fight the change. It can be a good thing. Be very lucrative. All right, cool. So we've got Kara, and then I've got Dreaming with Tess. We've got Claire, Crystal, Brandon, Rachel, Jessica, Martinez, Juliana, Christopher, Kiki. What's up, Kiki? All right, Kara says she's got Joel, who's a Capricorn, Cap Sun, Aries Moon, Sag Rising. Whew. That's a Mars retrograde going on for him in his 7th. She says, will Joel overcome his darkness in this lifetime to heal and become the king and lover that I know he is from other lifetimes? Let's take a look. So Sag Rising, Cap Sun, Aries Moon. That's a dangerous combination. Will Joel heal? All right, so we've got the Star card, the 10 of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles. Star card's reversed, 10 of Cups is reversed. You know, I'm not going to defend a Sag Rising because right now a lot of them kind of feel like terrorists. A lot of them. It's not their fault. It's the retrogrades and the mutable squares. The answer is yes, but it's like he's on this path of figuring this out. It looks like it's going to take the better part of like the next year, right? Ace of Pentacles. The Star card is a healing card, but that's the need to turn inward and be conscious and aware of the need for healing to actually take place, right? So if the Star card was upright, it's about going out, being a part of a community, being a part of a collective, working with other people, like getting feedback. It does talk about the need to make changes in his exterior world, right? His relationships with others, who he's friends with, what groups he belongs to, and finding his place in society. So it can also mean, reverse, that he's not taking the responsibility necessary to actually initiate the healing, right? Does that make sense? And then 2, we've got the 10 of Cups coming up. It's reversed. So the 10 of Cups coming up reversed talks a lot about finding it difficult to figure out what he wants when it comes to home and family life, right? So 10 of Cups is usually the happily ever after card. You know, you see 2 people that are embracing each other, there's kids, everybody's happy, they're having a good time, but it's reversed. So it's saying like, they don't know if they want to get married. They don't know if they want to settle down. They don't know if they want to have, you know, kids or have more kids. They don't know if they're ready to heal from some of the early childhood dynamics, which seem to be rather difficult. And then we've got the Ace of Pentacles, which is a positive card. It's saying like it's going to happen in due time when he is able to rebuild, right? And this can also be talking about the need for financial assistance, health assistance. This can be physical, mental, emotional health issues. But it's saying it's going to be on the up and up, and it's going to be something that's going to take closer to a year. Interesting that this coming up with the 10 of Cups also makes me feel like he may have it in his head because of the experiences he had with his family or when he was younger, that he's never going to have that, or that he's not worthy enough, or that he's not good enough. And maybe he runs away from it a little bit because the Star card wants to be a part of the collective. When it's reversed, it's basically saying, no, I don't really think that that's a part of my path. I don't think that's a part of my goal. He may not feel like it's achievable. He may not have felt like he grew up with like a really good example, right? Because the 10 of Cups, when it's upright, it's like, oh, my parents were married and everything was great. Everybody got along and I had a healthy, you know, dynamic. Not so much. He kind of feels like a little bit of a loner, and this feeling that he's not going to get better until he starts investing in himself, right? And so obviously Sag Rising, Right now he's got Mars retrograde in 7th. So he's got people pushing him, make the changes. And it's squaring Neptune in his 4th. So that definitely means that he's struggling when it comes to sharing his emotional feelings and being able to kind of dissolve the past and envision a future where he can share space with somebody and build a life with someone. So some of these Sag risings are running away, right? Some of them are running away because they're like, oh, this is too much work, or this person's pushing me too much, and like, I can't do this. And then they just kind of want to hide out. Give him some time. You might notice actually, you know, in Aquarius season that he has a conversation with you and lets you know, like, you know, I just never thought this was in the cards for me, or I don't really know how to do it. I didn't really have a great experience growing up. And I need to figure it out. This is literally about him investing in himself again. But also there can be some issues that are going on right now with financial stuff. And once that starts to kind of remedy, you might see that he's kind of coming around a little bit more, but he's definitely on the path more or less for the better part of the next year or so. Okay. Good luck with that, Sabrina. Oh, sorry. That was not Sabrina. That was Kara. Sorry, Kara. Let's get Dreaming with Tess in. And we'll grab Jessica Martinez too, so you guys are on deck. Dreaming with Tess. Let's see. So Tess asked about career. What's up, Nikki? Hey, Echoist. Hey, Deets. Krista. Hi, Marsha. All right, so let's see what the cards say for Tess in regards to career. Coco says, definitely. All of those Sagittarius risings, all the mutable squares. All right, so this is for Tess in regards to her social media career. Oh, that one wants to come out. Okay. In this order. All right, so we've got the Hermit, 7 of Swords, Knight of Wands. Sag Sun, Taurus Moon, Cancer Rising. Okay, that makes sense with Mars retrograde in your 12th right now, this Hermit card. Coming out of a period of reflection and learning to trust yourself. That 7 of Swords coming up reversed is like going back and reflecting, or going back on working on something, focusing on not forgetting things. This can also be about organization, staying on time. I mean, I think of like planning, you know, making sure that you're not overlooking something. That seems to be a real emphasis right now. So are you working with clients, or are you trying to figure out how to create something where somebody has like a schedule? Like, I know that that's what happens with social media. I know that you schedule that out, but are you coming up with a format so you can either work with people and show them how to kind of get into sync with making sure that they're not overlooking stuff, or that stuff's getting, you know, done, or stuff's getting made? Are you thinking about creating like a service where you can like provide like all of the outlines and all the planners and all that stuff for some of these people? Because this, to me, feels like don't forget, don't miss, don't overlook this, right? So it might even be that you've been reflecting on social media in general, and all of like the tips and the tricks and all of that stuff that maybe you're going to put together, that you're going to either sell, or you're going to create content to share with other people, because it might be like blind spots that the everyday person who's needing to come up with content or content ideas, or making sure that they're consistent, forgets. Do dream interpretation, and I'm needing to get programs to record my sessions. Okay, so maybe that's what it is. It's just about not forgetting something. Okay, so if that's what you need to do, the Hermit card talks about reflecting and isolation and time alone, and what you're finding in that period of isolation, what you're finding in a period also of reflection. It's a really great card for Mars to be retrograde in your 12th house, right? Because you might be spending more time recording your dreams. You might be spending more time meditating. You might be spending more time alone out in nature. And maybe it's helping you realize like, okay, you know, there are things that I've been overlooking, or there are things that I'm not retaining, or there are things that I'm forgetting. And it's helping you kind of bring that memory back. Hermit mode since 2013. But this energy is funky because like the Hermit makes me feel like there's a sense of just kind of staying put. And then the Seven of Swords is like, okay, what do I need to kind of tweak and make sure that I get right before it's like full steam ahead. Knight of Wands makes me feel like you're getting ready to drop something or that you're going to be working with something and it's going to be brand new, more fast-paced, louder, brighter, perhaps maybe providing services to individuals. Any of the knights could be individuals, but specifically like the Knight of Swords is like people who, the Knight of Wands, people who travel, people who might work in like art or creativity, loud, bright people, bright pops of color. It might also be people who like work with vehicles. I'm trying to think what else would be like the Knight of Wands. Performers, creatives, and probably people who are, traveling, they're moving, they're going around places. So it might be people who you're hearing from that are like, I'm always in different time zones, I'm going to different places, I need somebody to kind of take things over, or I need to be able to take all of my videos and all of my shots and kind of turn this over to somebody and have somebody create content out of it, right? Fitness, that might be something else too, is you might see more opportunities for people in the fitness world, Knight of Wands. But the Hermit and the Seven of Swords is saying that maybe you're just focusing more on being able to retain more from your dreams, so you're feeling like you can trust yourself more and you're feeling better guided, so you feel more confident when it comes to like making decisions and making moves when it comes to your career. As a Cancer rising, obviously Jupiter's in your 10th house again. You're going to have eclipses there in the spring. I have seen this retrograde right now for a lot of you guys is like really focusing on building things behind the scenes and getting everything ready. So come either, mid-January when Mars goes direct, or closer to March or April when planets go into your 10th house, you're ready to launch all of this stuff. So Hermit mode's still going to hang around for a little bit, maybe 7 weeks or so. But then you're kind of off to the races, and there's going to be much more fast paced when it comes to your work. And I think that you're going to be diversifying the kind of, clients that you're going to be working with in general. And they may be more men, they may be more, like I said, fitness, action, kind of oriented. And I think it's good for you to be venturing into like other arenas. And I know this sounds weird, but blind spots keeps coming up for me with the Hermit card because he has light, right? He's shining a light, and the Seven of Swords is like things that people forget. So I'm also wondering, like, for you in general, would it be a good idea for you to put something together to be able to promote your brand, even if it's something simple that's like, here's the top 10 things that, creators don't realize are so important when it comes to content strategy. Don't forget these 10 things when you're structuring and creating content. And then people are like, well, how do I do that? And you're like, and that's why you hire me. So it can be a great way to kind of show people the things that they're not even seeing. And it could be as simple as like, are you not putting a filter on something? Are you looking at your analytics? Do you know the best time to post based off of your social media? Not everybody knows these things. Content creators do. So that might be a great way to promote and also show people why you're worth what you're worth, because you know all the tips and tricks to help them kind of grow their business, right? Good luck. She said, all of them are men. Yep, that would make sense. They also might be doing things very quickly and kind of haphazardly, All right, so let's get Jessica Martinez. Thank you guys for your patience. We're going to call last call probably here in the next, I'll give you guys 10-ish minutes. All right, so Jessica says, I am traveling back home to Texas on January 6th. I can feel that aside from travel, it's going to be a big day with that full moon. Please spread on the energy for that day, please. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your generosity. Sun and Sag, Cancer, Moon, and Rising. What degree is your moon? I'll give you guys the running list of who I have, because there's a lot of you guys still. 16 degrees. Okay. Got it. So it's going to be right on your moon. It's going to be your lunar return. Okay, so this is who we've got. We've got... All right. Crystal, Brandon, Rachel, Juliana, Christopher, Kiki, Vanessa, Stephanie, Alexandra, Marsha, and Susan. What's up, Susan? In that order, so you guys just hang tight. Let's see. Yeah, in the 12th house. Cancer, moon, and rising. Sag, sun. Okay, got it. So Cancer, moon, and rising, and your moon is in the 12th house. Where are you traveling back from? Well, a lunar return, I would say swing back around. Let's look at your lunar return. Leaving southern, okay. Thank you, Susan, I got you. Wow, we got a couple cards that are making a reappearing act. Knight of Wands, coming up with the Queen of Swords and the Five of Swords reversed. Knight of Wands coming up makes me feel like just the tempo of actually traveling and moving is going to be pretty quickly paced. So it can be talking about being hasty. This can also be about coming into contact with like abrasive individuals. So just be mindful. Obviously, you know, being that you're a Cancer rising, the moon is your ruling sign. So anytime, the ruling planet. So anytime there's a full moon happening, or if there's any transits on your natal moon, you're going to feel this like much more strongly. Okay. So personally, I feel like watch out for just moving too quickly. If you're having a full moon in your 12th house on top of your natal moon, you're going to be feeling like you just want to hide out. You just want to be sleeping. You want to have privacy. Like you want your own space. Like you're not going to want to be bothered. And you can be feeling like you're being provoked, right? So I think that the Knight of Wands is kind of saying like, if you're driving, if you're traveling, if you're dealing with like feisty individuals, just take your time, be calm. Queen of Swords coming up reversed. Once again, emotional or communication tension, finding it difficult to get your point across. This can, notice she's putting her hand out and she's kind of like waving at the Knight and being like, do I say something? Do I not say something? Like, do I get combative with him? Do I not? This can also talk about you going back and forth with a fellow air sign, okay? So it can be a Libra or a Aquarius or a Gemini and having some kind of difficult communication with them. The moon in general also for you in the 12th house can be like maternal figures, or it can be talking about you as a mom and any anxieties that you're having about children or about female family members. So I'm wondering like, do you have a heated interaction with somebody and like you feel like you're getting defensive or protective of another woman that's in the family? Followed by the Five of Swords coming up reversed. And so this is kind of suggesting, you know, laying your weapons down, not having conflict, not challenging somebody else, not going toe to toe with them, watching your words. Yep, there it is. So your mom is a Gemini with an Aquarius moon. And then you have a full moon on your natal moon. So likely, perhaps, you're going to find that in the midst of traveling, mom's giving you a hard time. She's kind of yanking your chain about something. And you're like, I'm just trying to get home. Like, what do you want me to do? And there can be some really kind of intense verbal exchanges that can go on between the two of you guys. And the moon's just a woman in general, whether it's your mom, your daughter, you know, another female family member. The Five of Swords being reversed also makes me feel like, once again, people saying things that they can't take back, or something coming up that you have to kind of bite your tongue. Yeah. I mean, the full moon is also that completion of being like, okay, now I'm finally leaving and I'm out of her space, right? I don't feel like she's like in my hair. So there is some sense of you being able to get a little bit of peace. I would just say watch out for the fierceness, the fieriness. Especially this can be while driving or in transportation, right? So like you're driving with mom, somebody cuts mom off and like mom gets like super angry and some guy gets out of the car and like gets like really agitated and you're like, okay, mom, get back in the car. You know, it's like some situation like that could happen. It's literally going to be about biting your tongue, right? Or not saying something, or explaining to your mom that it's just better to leave some things left unsaid, right? Sending you good vibes. Selenite or moonstone or opal, all of those things would be really good for you to kind of keep with you, especially if you've got like a piece that you can wear on a necklace that you can wear around your chest. especially moonstone or any of the white opals, that definitely calms the fierceness and the fieriness that might come up during that full moon. The 6th house is also delays. It can be about health, and it can also be about accidents. So you're having that retrograde, depending on your degree, that's going to be dropping back into your 6th house, not whole sign, but Placidus. So be mindful of that. You're wearing your moonstone. Okay, perfect. That's amazing. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Sending you good vibes. Do those pentagrams over the car as you get into the car and you're traveling and going anywhere. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. What's up, Anjali? Hey, Karen. Hey, Susan. Thank you. I'm trying. I am trying. It's been a year of killing it. All right, guys, we're gonna close down the readings in another minute. So you guys have another minute to get in there. All right, so let's move now. We've got Claire, and then Crystal, and then Brandon. Last call. Claire, are you here? She says, tarot reading on relationships. And then Crystal and Brandon, you guys are on deck. All right, Claire, this one is for you. All right, so here we go. So it was in this order. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen that. I have a 2023 astrology calendar. So if you guys want a calendar for all the astrology for the year ahead, and it has all kinds of magical recommendations, check it out. All right, so Claire is asking about relationships. We have the Knight of Cups followed by the Star card, followed by the Four of Swords. This is probably the 3rd time or so that we have seen the Star card appear. So, I mean, obviously, Saturn is really being seen in these readings this evening. Knight of Cups, emotional connections. It also talks about romantic opportunities, going away with someone, visiting with someone, having a connection and relationships growing, right? Actually going somewhere. It can talk about water signs. So Cancers, Pisces, Scorpios can also show up. I like the Knight of Cups. He's like the knight in shining armor. So it's somebody who is really charming and really romantic and kind of poetic, and definitely somebody who wants to kind of win you over, right? In a much more kind of soft, gentle, traditional way. It can be an indication that a relationship is coming, right? So just a heads up. So if you're single, it can be saying, hey, someone's coming, especially sometime around January, February 2023. The Star card is a marker for Aquarius season, but it also talks about going out there, socializing, being with friends, being a part of a collective, getting to know other people. Sometimes the Star card can talk about meeting people online. Sometimes it can talk about meeting somebody at a party. And then what's interesting is then you have the Four of Swords. So it's kind of saying like getting connected to this person, feeling it out, kind of maybe starting off as friends, being like, are we friends? Are we something more? What's going on here? Four of Swords in this position, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it's about you being like, I'm going out there with the intention of being able to connect with somebody and having a heart connection. It doesn't have to be romantic. I'm just looking for somebody who is going to like feel like my best friend, because the Knight of Cups has that romantic connection, but the Star card is like at the core, it's somebody who you can rely on, and you know that it's somebody who you have like a real soul connection to. Four of Swords coming up is saying like feeling the situation out, not worrying about it, not feeling like you need to push it, just letting it lie. It can talk about increments of 4, so 4 weeks, 4 months. And as a confirmation card, I got the 7 of Wands coming up. So for me, that's kind of saying like, you don't need to go out there looking for someone. You just need to go out there and have a good time. Go out there and have fun, be with your friends, be around kind of others that are very similar to your interests. it might be a friend that introduces you to someone, or you meet them at like a social gathering. And then you're just going to feel it out. Give yourself a couple of weeks to feel that out. It might mean that you're refraining from physically connecting with someone, that you're like, no, I'm not really looking to just like have a physical connection. Like I'm looking for more substance than that. So you may refrain from having an intimate connection with this person. And then the 7 of Wands talks about you being able to have the upper hand on the situation. So it might say you're doing that to kind of gauge the connection beyond just physical chemistry, that you really want to see if it's somebody who's really going to put in the work or the effort to really pursue you and, and get to know you for who you are, rather than just moving very quickly. 7 of Wands is having the upper hand too. So it's saying that, in the interaction that you're going to have with this person that's coming, it's like you might play hard to get a little bit. You might make it a little difficult for that person to kind of scoop you up. But he's going to be a charmer, or they're going to be a charmer, regardless of who it is. And if you are also pulling the Knight of Cups, I would say put it out somewhere, or maybe put the Knight of Cups on your screen. And that'll be a way to kind of help connect with that energy all the time. I've noticed I've been reading tarot for like 17 years now. If a court card keeps coming up over and over and over, generally that person's going to pop up. So put it somewhere where you're going to see it every day. And usually they might have like lighter hair, kind of longer hair. It'll have like a curl or a wave to it. Fairer complexion, and it might be somebody who offers you something. So somebody who at a bar says, can I buy you a drink? Or, somebody who sits next to you at a coffee shop just starts talking to you. Somewhere where there's like an exchange of food or beverage, and somebody who tries to give you a gift, or tries to kind of open up conversation by offering you something. Okay. Good luck. That looks really exciting. I keep pulling the King of Wands. So I'm like, why have I been pulling? I've pulled the King of Wands like probably 4 times in the last 2 weeks. It's very, very weird that keeps popping up for me. So I know what that's like. All right. So we have got Susan. Get Susan in there. What's up, Susan? I would show my calendar, but it's on the wall. But I have a digital version and a physical version. So if you guys want to check it out, you can click somewhere below. My link's somewhere on there. Go to my website. It's Beyond the Veil Tarot. And we're going to be selling those also on Sunday during the live show. If you guys didn't catch that, if you're just tuning in, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Eastern, live astrology for New Year's Day. All the 2023 astrology we're going to talk about. Oh, somebody's going to hand me a calendar. Thank you. I'll show it to you guys. Okay, so Susan wants to know, will my guy come back with an offer of commitment? How does he feel right now, and what's the outcome or advice? I got you. So this is the calendar. Total labor of love. We made the whole thing. My husband and I, we designed this. And yeah, each month has a different profile for each and every one of the 12 signs. So I give you all of the minerals, the metals, the different herbs, the oils, the incense, the different deities, ways to ritualize and do offerings. So if you like to put specific offerings on your altar, that's what I like to do. I tell you which ones to use, which tools to use, and ritual themes, and then do a little profile on everybody, the planet sign, the zodiac sign, the elements, the mode, just for each and every one of them. And so this is going to give you all of the astrology of 2023, along with all the new moons, all the full moons, and their degrees, the eclipses, the retrogrades. It's all on here. So I'm somebody every year, that's how I made this. Every year I sit down and I look at all the transits, and I put all the transits out, and then I break down the year, and I make sure that I have all of the just supplies and all the things that I want to use for each month, just for offerings or for burning candles or for whatever. And I like to know the degrees of all the new moons and the full moons, so I know if something specifically is going to hit my chart, and then I want to make sure that I'm ready with all my magical supplies. So that's how this came to be. So if you guys want to check this out, I think it's like $17 for a digital version. And I think it's like 35-ish on my website for the physical print. But the cardstock's really nice. I was surprised. We got a couple copies, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's really, really nice. So thank you for that. All right. I saw a number of people who got it for Christmas and they were posting it. And I was like, that's so like surreal to see people being like, this is what I wanted for Christmas. Rachel got one. She said it's nice too. Thanks guys. That's the first one I put out. Okay, so Susan wants to know, is the dude gonna come back? And she also wants to know, let's see. I saw what she said. There's so much in the chat, sorry. She wants to know if he's gonna come back and what the outcome was going to be, and if he's gonna offer commitment and how he feels. All right, so let's take a look. So this is for Susan. All right, so we have Queen of Cups, Four of Swords, the Tower. Oh boy. Queen of Cups coming up right now, tapped in, connected, visualizing, maybe even manifesting. There being a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions there connected to this person. Maybe this is also about like feelings and visions and intuitively what you're feeling like could happen. Queen of Cups talks, I think, about just that emotional connection and that need. Maybe in the past, because it's in the past position, you've been very open to him. You've been very loving and kind and healing and therapeutic towards him. And there's been this sense of you being like, I'm always going to love this person. Four of Swords is the right now. So to me, obviously, and if you're asking if he's going to come back, it's like feeling like there's nothing going on. It's like, okay, this is a dead situation. Lack of communication, lack of connection, not feeling like he's around. But also it can represent a period where the relationship is not over, but it is like in hibernation mode, right? Four of Swords can be talking about taking a break, taking a period of time off, increments of 4 weeks, 4 months. The Four of Swords in the current position is also saying like, there's nothing you need to do. Like there's no actions that necessarily need to be taken in the current moment. Nevertheless, it's difficult because this also is a card that comes up with grief. So it's like, I know he's out there. What's going on? Why am I not hearing from him? What's the problem? Like, when is this going to move forward? And the final card that you get is the Tower card. Now, this was the confirmation. There's that Knight of Wands again, which makes me feel like as a confirmation for the Tower, which we all kind of know what that means. It's like something comes crashing down, right? There is like this epiphany moment. The Knight of Wands is saying that he may have brought this on himself, that there is a sense of him creating the fallout, him creating the problems, him being irrational, or him being too hasty, or him being too passionate, too selfish, right? And drive-bys make sense. So the Knight of Wands is definitely, all of the knights, because they get on their horse and they ride, can talk about people who drive by, come by, go places, send messages. But the Tower card is making me feel like there's like this Mexican standoff that's going on right now. Where like, you're like, I care about you. I feel for you. I have always felt that way. I always have, connections to you. You have a spot in my heart. But for the life of me, I cannot bring myself to be the one who's going to reach out to you and talk to you because you created this mess. The Tower card is basically saying like the whole thing kind of blew up, and it's because of him acting impulsively or selfishly. The Tower card is also about Mars. So the other thing that I would consider is Mars is retrograde. So you're going to want to look at perhaps maybe when Mars goes direct, or when there are some more positive transits that are happening in aspect to Mars. We're going to start seeing like Jupiter sextile Mars. We're going to see some other stuff that's going to come up in February. But the Tower card is not a good indication for being like, yes, they're going to come back and everything's going to be fine. It's going to be like, no, he kind of blew this up. And because he's blown the situation up, obviously the tower's on fire. The whole thing kind of fell apart. It's like, well, now what, right? He has to be the one who has to kind of remedy the situation, because you're staying in your own lane with this Four of Swords that's coming up here. And, Queen of Cups is saying there's still feelings there, but it is in the past. So it's saying that moving forward, you may not approach him in the same way, or you may not kind of treat him the same way that you used to. And part of it is because just how much of a mess he's made of the situation. So as much as I hate to say that, that's what it's kind of looking like, and it may take some more time. keep in mind, right, like, you know, Jupiter going into Aries, depending on the degree that you have for your descendant, if I remember correctly, you are a Libra rising. So Saturn's going to finally be leaving your 5th. Jupiter's going to go through your 7th. Eclipses are going to start in your 7th. It's not all butterflies and rainbows with Jupiter in your 7th house, especially in Aries. It can bring new people. You can meet new people, but there can also be explosive situations happening with other people that show you others' true colors, right? Just food for thought. Jupiter will hit his moon soon. So I would say between Mars stationing, you know, relationship stuff gets easier, and also waiting until Jupiter starts getting into more harmonious aspects where it's going to be making some sextiles to the planets that you have in Aquarius in your 5th house. I don't remember what is there, but I know you've got something there. So Jupiter sextiling the 5th house is going to open things up more. I would say stay in your lane, let it be. Even if you're feeling like you're connecting to him psychically or in your dreams, or you're getting visions of things, it's important to kind of be like, dude, you need to talk to me on the 3rd dimension. Like, stop showing up in the astral, because there can be a sense of him feeling like that's how he can connect with you. And I would say just be very mindful of that he needs to actually make the physical changes. And he needs to go through whatever he's going through right now to be able to kind of clear some of this stuff out, because he has to clear this out. It's not your mess to pick this up, you know? Difficult stuff. Hopefully that's helpful. There's going to be a lot of this going on with the Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus. Good luck. Good luck. And I live closer to you now. I live in Texas now, so I have to come visit you soon. Okay, so we have Crystal, Miss V. So it'll be Miss V, Brandon, and then Rachel. All right, Miss V, she says, month of January message. I got you, girl. So this will be your message. Oh, send me a message when you come out to Texas. I will be here. Where are you coming? Miss V, this will be your January message. I like this one. What a great card to start off the new year, the Fool. Kind of makes me feel like this is going to be the year that you say yes to everything, you know? You say yes to things rather than saying no. This is like going to be a focus in the new year of being like fresh starts. I know that's like so cheesy with the new year, but really the Fool is like, okay, here goes nothing. We're doing something new. We're doing something different, right? And I personally feel like the Fool card is also talking about like being more optimistic in terms of where things are going, right? Being like, okay, anything is possible. Anything can happen. Everything's working out for me. Like, you're going to notice that there's going to be a total shift in your demeanor. And the willingness to also, I think, go on trips and travel and do things by yourself or explore places that you haven't been before. Sag rising, cool. But fresh starts seems like the biggest theme, you know? I would say, like, while you have Jupiter going through your whole sign 5th, if you're a Sag rising, eclipses in your 5th, great time to be like learning new things, trying new things, going new places. That's going to be really important. Hobbies as well, especially since you have Saturn coming into Pisces next year in your 4th house. So make the most of the new year. Not a lot of people know, once Mercury and Mars go direct, all planets at the second half of January will be direct until Pluto retrogrades in, I think, May. So it's going to be like 3.5 months in the new year where all planets are direct. So it's going to be a really, really, really good time to just initiate things and get things up off the ground, because I have to tell you guys, like, even though it's good energy, May through June is just like crazy in terms of the astrology. So if you're like, hey, I need to get more active, I need to get out there, I need to travel places, I need to do things for me, what's going to make me happy, big theme with the Jupiter transit in your 5th, do that. The Fool card is basically just saying, like, taking risks and taking chances and being optimistic about what's actually going to happen and how things are going to play out. But this is also about exploring, getting to know yourself better. Jupiter in the 5th house will definitely do that, especially in Aries. And I feel like for you, it's also going to be about learning how to play. Jupiter in the 5th house is playtime. I really liked that transit. I had it 2 years ago. And it taught me that it's just like anything that brings you joy is probably something you should be participating in. This card comes up with a little doggy, so it can also be talking about companionship. You know, whether it's pets, if it's friends, if it's like you go places and you meet new people, things like that. But this is such a positive card, and it's like so bright and cheery, and it's also talking about the opportunity to kind of just have a clean slate. So definitely focus on that the entire month of January. And those of you guys who don't, you have a second shot at New Year's. You'll be able to do that during the new moon or the sun ingress into Aries in the spring. Okay, awesome for you, Miss V. Thank you for joining us and checking in. It's nice to see you. What's up, Brandon? We've got Brandon, Rachel, and then Juliana. Brandon says, hello. What can I expect for January of 2023? You must be on the same wavelength as Miss V. Anjali says, wow, I remember you telling me that was a thing for Libra risings too. That's cool to see it play out. Yeah. Jupiter's squaring my natal Jupiter and my Venus. So it's a lot of change at one time. These cards keep jumping out. I was going to try to shuffle them, but they keep jumping. So I'm going to read them for you. What can you expect January of 2023? Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, but did we not pull the Lovers for you recently in another reading? I feel like we did. The Lovers jumped out with the 9 of Wands. That makes me feel like it's like, don't worry, like love is on the way. And I know that's not even really what you're looking for. Maybe it's companionship, maybe it's support. 9 of Wands talks about like overcoming a challenge and like not feeling like you're in a situation where you're alone. You have to go at life alone, or you have to live alone, travel alone, experience things alone. But the Lovers card popped out, like you saw me shuffle that several times. Both of them just jumped out. So maybe it's like a message that's like, hey, companionship isn't as far away as you think, or you don't have to struggle by yourself. It's okay for you to open up to having somebody else who's going to go with you on the journey, right? Choices, options, obviously that comes under the guise of the Lovers. But it also talks about like I don't always really jive with the theme of temptation. I see that more as the Devil card. I see this as more like you asking yourself, how much longer do I have to figure things out by myself? And who's going to join me and help me kind of figure out the rest of the path? Maybe considering being more so open to partnerships or relationships and like letting other people kind of join in and like, you know, do life with you. And yeah, I really like this because I feel like the 9 of Wands is such a struggle. So whatever it is that you're struggling in, like whatever situation, it's basically saying other people are going to show up if you allow them. And if you're willing to take a chance and maybe kind of break with this tendency to be like, I've got it, I can do it myself attitude, and let other people kind of step in and kind of work with you, right? I do try to do most things by myself. Well, I mean, you know, you have like a lot of fixed energy in your chart from what I remember, right? You have a lot of Taurus in your chart. But I think the Lovers card is interesting because it's basically saying like, wouldn't it be nice to like have somebody assist you? It doesn't even have to be about like having like a romantic partner, but it's like, wouldn't it be nice to have somebody like to go to the store with, or like have somebody who's going to travel with you, or like have somebody who's going to like, you know, carry some of the weight of whatever it is that you're dealing with. So it's trying to kind of get you through the struggle or through doing things so much by yourself where you're just fed up and you're just like, okay, fine, like just send them in, you know? So I think it's letting you know that that's going to be kind of coming along here pretty soon. Even if it doesn't really, really play out for you until closer to, you know, June, July, August, I think this is something you're going to be reflecting on, that there's almost there's only so much you can do by yourself. And then you start kind of breaking down and become more so open, you know? Good message for you. Brandon, good luck. We've got Rachel, Juliana, Christopher, Kiki. Don't worry, I got you guys. I got you, Vanessa. You got in there. Let me see. Who's the last one? Thank you for your patience. Anjali got in there. Okay. We've got Rachel. Rachel says, can we get a read on Pajama Guy? He's been texting me here and there. Last night at 2 a.m. I sent a text and then deleted it, so I'm not sure where he's at. Wondering if we'll get together for New Year's. Let's take a look. So what do we need to know about Pajama Guy? Is she going to get together with him for New Year's? Ooh, Ace of Coins. Hopefully he's coming bearing gifts. Expensive ones, nice ones. Ace of Pentacles is like it's in the bag card. I mean, that's literally, it is what it is, right? So Ace of Pentacles is basically saying there's going to be an offering, or he's going to say, hey, can we do something? Can we get together? You know, what do you want to do for New Year's? But it also talks about the opportunity for a physical connection, right? And the Ace of Pentacles is what you can hold on to. It's not like fire or air or water, like you can physically hold it. So that can also be an indication of like a physical connection coming. Generally, this is the within 1 month, within 1 year card. Bottom of the deck, obviously, is the Lovers. So it's talking about a physical connection. The opportunity, maybe it's Brandon. You never know. Maybe it's Brandon. But I think it's talking about you connecting with another person physically and being able to see him. I also think that this is about the temptation of like do I let him back in? Do I not? Do I play that game because I want to see him physically, you know, for New Year's? Also, you got a Mercury retrograde in your 5th house right now, right? And so until that retrograde's done and like Mercury has left the late degrees of Capricorn, which will be the beginning of February, likely you'll see a romantic situation kind of go back and forth, and it'll kind of, you know, flip-flop a couple times. So even if he comes back, there might be a sense of taking space, and then you don't hear from him, and then he comes back again. So keep in mind that that's how this is going to work up until the better part of the beginning of February. But Ace of Pentacles is saying, hey, you'll have an offer from him, and if you don't like it, potentially there's going to be another offer on the table, or there's going to be something else that you can do, another choice, another person. Although I'm curious to see what he ends up offering, because something may actually pan out here. Keep in mind with your guy, the Mercury retrograde is squaring his moon and his sun. So it's a kind of pivotal turning point in regards to responsibility. If he says he's going to be somewhere, he shows up on time, all that fun stuff, right? So let's see if he's a man of his word. If he says like, hey, I actually want to get together, let's do something, I'd be like, okay, cool, plan it, you know, and make him physically kind of follow through with it. I hope you get to see him. Good luck. Rachel's swooping in. She says, Brandon, where do you live at? Okay, so we have got Juliana, Christopher, and then Kiki. General reading, spiritual focus, what I need to hear. I like these questions, guys. You guys are really getting down there, getting in it. Juliana says, what does she need to hear? Ooh, that Knight of Wands. I mean, like, what? Like, what? How many times is that going to pop up? Time to get moving. Time to get active. What are you most passionate about? What's going to actually kind of strike a match and make you feel passion, desire, excitement? This is about going on a trip, starting a new, you know, project. This is about a new physical sexual partner. This is about doing something that you're feeling like you're creating, right? Fire is about life. So something you bring to life, something that you do that is thrilling. This can also be talking about working more with the element of fire and being able to kind of get your heart rate racing. So it can be like hot yoga, being outside, being able to go for a run or a jog, like focusing on moving energy around. So sometimes this card comes up even for like energy healing, where you're like, I've been in a funk, I've been stuck, I need to get stuff kind of moving and shaking. Working with brighter colors. So it can also be about oranges, yellows, reds, anything that's going to kind of like warm you up a little bit more. Hot spices. Working with the root chakra, the solar plex, right? These areas where you're going to be feeling like you can really kind of get in touch with like the inner creative, the inner child, more spontaneous, having more fun. But this can also be talking about like fire signs coming into your life right now. Aries, Leos, Sagittarius, helping you figure out what you're most passionate about and what it is that you desire, right? Desire is a big thing that I see with this coming up. There she is. Hey, Juliana. You're asking about your spiritual focus. I'm wondering if this is like, you know, some chanting, some yoga, I mean, but like active, like physically moving the energies around. This is about things stirring. So it can also be about doing some Kundalini work. If you feel physically like you need to go somewhere, you need to experience some kind of training, or that you need to do some kind of body work, something like that, it can be like really, really, really positive in terms of some of your spiritual stuff. And the Knight of Wands says, if you want something, go get it. Cool. It's about keeping the fire burning, right? The Knight of Wands is going to run with the wand that's creating life, or it's on fire, or it's bringing warmth, or it's bringing heat. The next one would be the Queen of Wands. So it's not just what you've been working on. It's like, okay, what have I actually created? What can I sit and kind of take in? So maybe it's just about kind of feeling like you're getting some of this stuff moving, seeing more movement in terms of your life and your passions and what you're participating in. And that in turn is physically going to take you to new places, that you're going to go to other places. Who's on the fire department? Oh my God. Literally, the Knight of Wands would be somebody who works at the fire department. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's so great. Well, yeah, hi, this is the bottom card, just so you know, the Two of Cups. So the passion, the connection, the having fun, it can very much be with another person, you know? With another person, a new potential relationship that's lighting your fire. I love that. Keep doing that. I think that that's really good. And that's also making you feel like you can be a little bit more spontaneous, and you can see things move a little bit more quickly. And passion is like really good for your soul work right now. It's gonna make you feel a little bit more fulfilled, a little bit more youthful. Good luck. That's a great reading. We've got Christopher, and then Kiki and Vanessa. Let me catch up here. What's up, Kevin? Hey, Juliana. Hey, Free Spirit. Hey, Robbie. Rob says he's been stuck in a fat portal. Yeah, well, I've definitely been stuck in the fat portal. Oh, man. I can't believe that. That still makes me like pee my pants laughing. I'm just going to start telling people that. Like, what happened? I got stuck in a fat portal. It's an inside joke. Don't worry, guys. All right. I love that so much for you, Juliana. All about movement. All right, cool. Let's get to Christopher. Christopher says, going through a lot with the conjunction of Mercury, Venus, and Pluto, setting up in my relationship 7th house. I'm scared. Last time I broke up with my current man of almost 5 years. Will we make it through this energy? Fear not. Be more concerned about the node square Pluto next summer. History does not always repeat itself, although Mercury retrogrades do have patterns, right? Let's take a look. Mercury's turning retrograde. And it's conjunct Venus and Pluto, but Venus hasn't hit yet. It's going to hit on New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day. And Mercury's not going to hit for a while because it's got to finish its retrograde. So let's see what the cards say for you in terms of this really intense conjunction. There he is. We've got 10 of Wands, 4 of Coins, Queen of Pentacles. Even though I'm going to jump around a little bit here, I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that you've got the 4 of Coins and the Queen of Pentacles, coins, whatever, it makes me feel like nothing, you're not going to physically lose anything, right? Like you're not losing anything. Nothing's going away. 10 of Wands is like talking about, man, like what you've overcome, all right? So, you know, Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. So you've really gone through the gauntlet because you had Pluto that was in your opposite sign to your ascendant. It was in an angular house. It was in a cardinal sign. And then 2020 was just like a total shit show because we had Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter, and they were all in your 7th house. So yes, you're going to see that there is going to be some kind of, at some point, relationship breakdown. So I really think that the Mercury retrograde is like about really reflecting on all of the changes that have happened in your relationship area of your life over these last, 12 years. Okay. More than that. I'm just not doing math right now. 10 of Wands is like saying like, look at how far I've come. Look at what I've overcome. It's been heavy lifting. It's been challenging. Maybe it's you thinking in the past, the Mercury retrograde was really challenging here. It was really heavy. But the 4 of Coins is saying, what do I keep stock of, right? Like, where am I solid? Where am I unwilling to let go? Where am I unwilling to fail, right? And also it's about being more so open. The 7th house is other people. But for a Cancer rising, Mercury rules your 12th. So it's about having conversations that need to be had, that need to finally get out there, out in the open. And, telling other people like what's been on your mind or like perhaps even what your fears are. Then we've got the Queen of Pentacles, which is saying like sitting on top of something, having it, being able to hold on to it, not letting something go, nurturing, caring, and physically maintaining some kind of connection. I don't think this means that the relationship's going to end. And then the Star card is actually saying that, as confirmation, this can bring healing. So I'm not worried about a breakup. I'm sorry to hear that that has happened in previous relationships. But, we had a Venus-Pluto conjunction. We had a Venus retrograde with that conjunction that happened at the beginning of January, right? January 2022. So if you go back in time and look at that Venus retrograde, Mercury was retrograde, Venus was retrograde in Capricorn, they both touched Pluto. You didn't have a breakup. So, just saying. With my current man, 5 years, yeah. So, if you've had that in the past, I think it was more so connected to Venus going retrograde, not necessarily the Venus-Pluto connection. But know that over the summer, we're going to see the North and the South Node go into Aries and Libra, and it's going to square Pluto. So I've told all my Cancer risings that as we get into 2023, any relationship that's not solid, that's not built on truth and honesty and isn't true love, and if it isn't about growth and harmony, it may break down anyway, right? So you want to look at where the retrogrades are going on in their chart. I feel like this is also about you getting solid advice from a woman, Queen of Pentacles. So it could be somebody older, it could be an earth sign. And I see this as being like, look, you've been through a lot. Obviously, there's been challenges in the past. You're taking stock of like what you learned in the last time you had these transits. You're leaving room for healing, the Star card, and being able to kind of move on to the next steps in the relationship. And then the Queen of Pentacles is kind of saying like anything that's truly yours can't be taken, right? Because she's sitting there and she's holding on to the pentacle, but she's not grasping it like this. So I think it's about like letting love be, like letting love just be, like not feeling like you need to possess a person or possess a thing in order to be like, oh my God, I need to get freaked out because this thing might happen because it happened last time. No. Mercury retrogrades are good things. It helps kind of clear out all the air and it gets out all the conversations that need to be had. Conjunct Pluto, which just maybe like having some really deep, profound conversations. Pay attention to what happens over the next couple days. The fact that Venus and Pluto are going to be there on New Year's, it could mean that you guys sit down and have a conversation about just how much you guys love each other. And a lot of this is about trust and being able to trust one another moving forward. But really be looking at what's coming next summer, okay? Good luck. Good luck, good luck, good luck. We've got Kiki, Vanessa, and then Stephanie, Todd. Kiki says, today's been odd. Started with weird dreams that I just couldn't shake and a weird feeling. Ran into multiple people from the past at the store. Any guidance would be appreciated. New Year's blessings to you. Thank you, my dear. Well, yeah, Mars retrograde in your 5th is going to bring people from the past back. Sure. That can happen. Let's take a look. And also the Venus, Pluto, Mercury stuff in your 12th, right? You're an Aquarius rising, I think. Yeah. From what I remember. So let's see what the cards say about Kiki's weird day. Odd dreams. Interesting card. Your 12th house is Capricorn, right? So this is where things wrap up. We wrap things up in the 12th house. It's dreams. So Mercury retrograde in the 12th house is really prominent for dreams. They're going to keep coming. You're going to see more of them. Keep a journal, make a note of everything. But this is a positive card. Okay, so I see 10 of coins having connections similar to Capricorn energy. It's like that completion, that finale, like the end, what you've been working to achieve, you know, like all's well that ends well. 10 of coins is about the growth of your finances, your wealth, your health, your family, abundance, right? What you're receiving. So it talks about you coming into a period or a phase in your life where you're like, I'm receiving more stability. I'm receiving more in regards to my family. I'm receiving more health, more wealth, whatever. And everything's coming full circle. But this is about maturity. This is about growth. This is about long-term planning. So if there's been people that you have been meaning subconsciously to kind of finally disconnect from, if there's been situations where you're like, okay, I finally have to let that go because my life is moving on and I've got all these things happening. Notice that there's like, you know, there's children, there's a husband and a wife, there's like a dog, and they're coming into their new home. They're approaching their new home with all of this food and all of this fruit around them. This is abundance. Yeah, it's been a weird day, but I think it's like these things are coming up because you're entering a new phase of your life where you're getting more so grounded, where you may be focusing on a relationship or a family or long-term financial planning, long-term kind of, you know, stuff in regards to like your life. Like you're looking around being like, oh, this is where my life is going. Like this is going to be forever. And the universe has this weird way, or maybe subconsciously people have a weird way of responding to that like when your life starts to move on, they kind of feel you disconnecting. And then of course you'll just like run into them. It's all subconscious. I don't think any of it's like intentional. Just to kind of check you and be like, oh, are you really done with me? So they'll show up in a dream. They're going to show up at a grocery store. I mean, there's all kinds of weird serendipitous things that happen during retrogrades, but with Venus and Pluto in the 12th house, it's literally people being like, why did you forget about me? Why are you moving on? Like, what about me? Don't leave me here. And I would be like, fuck off. Like, especially considering the fact that it's happening in your dreams. Put crystals in the bedroom, clear your space out, sage the space, do whatever you have to do, and do some grounding exercises before you go to bed. And protect your home. And I don't just mean physically, I mean sit with intention to protect your relationship, to protect your family, to protect your privacy, and like energetically wrap that in like bubble wrap. Because this can also be happening because some people are realizing and they're recognizing that you're actually moving on, and like there can be some weird stuff going on. It's like very like, it's like, not to sound weird, but like evil eye stuff, right? Like jealousy is a real thing. So when people see that you're, you know, successful, or that you're married, or that, you know, any number of good things are happening in your life and that you're moving on, they're going to want to glob onto that because misery loves company, right? So protect that, send energy in protecting that. Do some do some magic with some mirrors where you're just deflecting and you're sending that energy back out, or do like a reverse or like a return to sender type candle. Just so that way you're protecting everything, because there's so many good things coming, things that you've been working really hard to kind of bring into your life that are now coming full circle, and you don't need anybody's like bad juju that's affecting that. And you know me, I'm not like super hocus pocus, but that's what's going on, because some of the things that are happening in your life right now is going to be big, and it's going to be long-term things like new houses, kids, relationships, family stuff. It's all going to be new and it's long-term. These are the people that you're going to be sticking with for some time. So obviously some people are going to kind of get jealous. She says, I have a mirror in every single window of my house. So you're already on top of it. It'll be fine. Be excited for some of the good things that are coming, you know, but you can't take everybody with you. Good luck. We got Vanessa. Vanessa says, I want to know why the Virgo is holding back from making things official. Will this change? Should I be patient? Does he want a future? So let's see. Keep in mind Virgo's sun, Virgo rising, Mercury's retrograde in Capricorn. So that does affect the ability to communicate or make serious commitments when it comes to romantic partners. It's just the way it works. For a Cancer rising like you, This is all happening in your 7th house. So sometimes when people, I always laugh. I shouldn't, but I do. I always, scroll through Facebook and it's like somebody makes the Facebook official. We're in a relationship or we're engaged. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde. And then to like watch several weeks later that just kind of falls apart. Be careful with trying to push relationships right now, because Mercury turned retrograde with Pluto and Venus in the mix. People can get really pushy or really fixated on the idea of commitment in relationships and making it work. And it can end up backfiring. This energy is going to clear out though closer to mid-January. And by the beginning of February, it's going to be done. So let's look. Why is he holding back? Will that change? And does he want a future? Should Vanessa be patient? This was the order, which is hilarious because this is literally more or less what I just told you. Ace of Swords, the Hermit, and the Page of Swords. So the Hermit card is about Virgos, okay? Question, did you kind of like bring this up and did he kind of like deflect, or was there a sense of being like, this is what I want, and then he got quiet? Ace of Swords is initiating things. So it can be new contracts, new conversations, new ideas, being direct, being forward. This is a positive card, but when it's coming up in this position with the Hermit card, it makes me feel like anything that you put out there can very easily turn into him kind of like clamming up and shutting down, right? Ace of Swords is like, I want this. And the Hermit's like, I'll be back in a minute. And then it's more difficult to kind of communicate with. And then, he kind of goes rogue. The Hermit card does talk about a Virgo specifically, whether it's you or it's him. And it does talk about reflecting. So I think that really what this is saying is, rather than just saying to him, this is what I want, or, this is what we're going to do, or why can't we do this? It's saying, why are you pushing that conversation, right? The confirmation card's pretty positive because we got another sword and I'm like, what does this mean? Nine of Cups. This seems to suggest that perhaps you'll get what you want. You'll get what you're looking for, what you're asking for. But to me, it seems like he wants to be the one to do it on his own terms. Like he doesn't want to feel like there's that pressure for commitment. Like he doesn't want to feel like it's coming up or that you have to be the one to initiate the conversation. The Page of Swords does talk about like brief conversations, bringing things up casually, initiating and starting something. The difference between the Ace of Swords is I see the Ace of Swords as being like, here's my idea. Maybe it's saying that he's thinking about it. It's on his mind, but he doesn't quite know how to formulate that, conversation yet. Page of Swords is like, okay, it's a little early for that. It's a little premature. I mean, we need some more time. Like, I think he's got all these reasons as to why he's not ready to do it yet. And you need to kind of let him sort through it. Ironically, though, the confirmation card was the Nine of Cups. So it's saying like, yes, likely you're going to end up getting what it is that you want. I also have this feeling that it'll all go your way if you're focusing more on the relationship rather than having the conversation, right? And so rather than sitting there and feeling like you need to be like, well, what are you looking for? What's going on? And why are you here? Like, it's basically saying, no, don't immediately jump to asking those questions. Instead, turn inward, reflect on what it is that you really want, be present with the relationship, let the relationship kind of pan out and let him kind of come to terms with this on his own. It's like the feeling that I'm getting. And Page of Swords might talk about initiating this conversation in like a fun way. That's kind of like poking fun at the situation and being like, okay, so where is this going? But like not having something serious, which is heavy. Nine of Cups makes me feel like it's also about doing it in a setting that's going to be like more comfortable, right? It's not having that conversation via text, not having that conversation over the phone, not getting aggressive about it, because if he feels like it's like something that's being pushed, he's going to kind of shut down. But the Nine of Cups is like going out to dinner, being on a date, having a couple drinks, like letting your guard down a little bit and then being able to have this talk. The Ace of Swords also makes me feel like doing it at a time where Mercury is going to be stronger would be a better move. I'm thinking like somewhere closer to the second half of January. It's not going to take very long. You can wait for him to come to you and initiate this, but I feel like the way that he's going to initiate it is going to be a little immature, or it's a little like, oh, I don't know, what are you doing? Like there's going to be deflecting that's going on. Give it a little bit more time. I don't see any funny stuff going on. I don't see any issues with him not thinking about it. I think he just wants to be able to kind of come to this on his own terms. That's the feeling that I'm getting. But still pretty positive cards. Just that Ace of Swords and the Hermit. Focus more on the relationship rather than feeling like you need to have the talk, right? Because I don't really see any funny stuff. There's no games that are being played here. And when the time is right, you'll be able to kind of jump in there and start talking to him about it and make him feel comfortable and that he can open up and kind of tell you what's on his mind, right? You might have to kind of coax him out of it, but give it about a month. That's when things are going to get a little bit easier in terms of communication. And know that the next immediate couple of days are very intense for your chart. Venus and Pluto are meeting with Mercury in your 7th house. So there's like this fixation and obsession with wanting to have a conversation about relationships. It's all in opposition to your moon. So you're like, I need to have this emotionally for security. This will calm down a little bit closer to the first week of January. Okay. But yeah, I do think that you're going to have the conversation. I don't think he's playing games. Good luck. All right, so that was Vanessa. We've got Stephanie, Alexandra, Marsha, and Anjali. Okay. Stephanie says, I've decided to have a baby in the new year. Can you look into it for me? I would love to do that. Let's take a look. Very exciting for you, Miss Todman. All right. All right, so we have in this order, wowzers. A lot of weighing your options is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. I'm really curious about that 4 of Pentacles at the end, so I might ask a couple questions. 5 of Pentacles reversed, not the 8 of Pentacles upright, and the 4 of Pentacles. Do you mind me asking you a question? Are you still in the chat? Why am I getting the feeling that there's this sense of being like, really, I mean, obviously that's a serious decision to make, but like really being like, okay, now or never, or it may not be the ideal time, but I'm going to do it anyway, or I have to make some sacrifices, or I feel like I'm doing this in a way that's going to be like more kind of independently or on my own. What's the deal here? 5 of Pentacles reverse, coming out of a difficult time, right? So coming out of a period of time where you felt like you couldn't do it, or it wasn't the right time, or the finances weren't there, or just it just was not in the cards literally in recent years, especially like the last 4 or 5 years. This is in the past though, okay? 2, now we've got the 8 of Swords coming up. So that talks about, I have a fibroid in my uterine lining, which hasn't happened before. Okay. So, yeah, it's like having to make difficult decisions because this does not seem easy to me. So I don't know if it's like you feeling like you need to do it potentially before reproductive issues ensue down the line, or it becomes more difficult to conceive. The 8 of Swords is kind of like trepidation and anxiety or worry over whether or not that it's going to work, but just the anxiety of like if the pregnancy is going to stick. Okay. I would recommend like working on anxiety, like doing breath work, meditating, reflecting. Like there's a need to kind of get the energy a little bit more calm and receptive. 4 of Pentacles does talk about being committed and being like, yes, I am going to do this. So it looks like it's going to go through. It looks like you're going to have to invest time, money, and changes possibly to like what you're eating or some financial changes in order to kind of like, you know, make this happen. I'm seeing a therapist and going to acupuncture. Yeah, the confirmation card is the 3 of Cups. So 2 becoming 3 is definitely a thing. It does talk about celebrations and being able to bring babies in. Springtime, this is a spring card. I could also see this being right around March. But yeah, changing your food, investing money in acupuncture, investing money in herbs. Like this is a thing. Like this is something you're going to be doing where it's going to take a little bit of time and much more focus to bring it together. But you're committed and you're not giving up. landed on changing my diet for the better. I'll be changing a drop in the new year. Yeah. These are the sacrifices, right? So the five of coins coming up with the 8 of swords is being like, okay, I have to make these sacrifices. I have to make these changes. I'm a little anxious about what the future holds, but I'm really committed to staying the course and making sure that I see it all the way through. You'll be successful. You'll be rewarded. What is your rising sign? I'm trying to think of the rising signs that are potentially looking at pregnancy. Aries risings. I could see some Taurus risings. Capricorn risings, Scorpio risings, Libra. So you've had Saturn in your 5th. So this has been something for 2 or 3 years that, you've been thinking about and delaying. And so now that Saturn's leaving your 5th house, you're going to start making a decision about whether or not you're going to do it. Saturn's going to be in your 5th house until about March. Okay. So depending if you look at Placidus or whole sign, but then it'll go into Pisces. So it's a good idea if you're a Libra rising to get the show on the road ahead of time. Start focusing on health stuff now because Saturn's going to be in your whole sign 6th house for the next few years. Yeah. You got a puppy, it's practice. That's very interesting. That's Jupiter in your 6th. Yeah, I would just say that the sacrifices that you're making in terms of your time and your resources and your work seems to be the biggest thing. But I definitely think it's going to be well worth it. And I would also say, look for the eclipses that are going to be taking place in your 8th house. That can be pregnancy, or Saturn getting ready to leave your 5th house. That can also bring pregnancy. But you got some pretty positive transits. You're going to have Venus and also the Sun going through your 5th house. That's good for conception if you're a Libra rising. So the next couple of months, definitely look at your progress chart. You can look at your lunar returns to get an idea. If you know how to look at your lunar returns, the months that you have the moon returning to your 5th house can be months that you're going to be more likely to get pregnant. But you got to look at that and your progress chart to kind of get an idea of when that's going down. I'm really good at it. So I've got 70, I think I wrote the number down, 75, 76 pregnancies that I've predicted over this last year. The number gets better each year. Pretty good with predicting babies for some reason. Maybe it's my North Node in the 5th. I will definitely talk to you soon. I'm very excited to take a look at that with you. Congratulations. Wishing you all the best. Lots of baby dust. Okay, so we've got Alexandra. She says, hi, love you. Capricorn, 5th house, Sun, Virgo, rising, Cancer, Moon, Venus, Sag, Mars. I've been seeing a wonderful Cap, Sun, Taurus. He seems different, energy shifted. Away, pretty bummed. Any insight is appreciated. Let's take a look. That is a bummer. Virgo rising, Mercury retrograde in your 5th. Ooh, what was that? Let's see. So let's take a look at what's going on with the Cap, Sun, Taurus. South Node eclipse is in the 7th house. That's what's going on. He's going to be a little hard to tame in terms of those transits. But let's see. So what's going on in terms of Alexandra's man? 2 of Swords. Overthinking. He isn't quite gone though. 6 of Swords says he kind of in limbo. You'll know over the next 6 weeks or so, kind of in between. But the 2 of Swords is kind of indecisive, half in, half out, I'm not blaming this on his astrology, but for Uranus to be in his sign, the North Node to be in his sign, ascendant sign, and the South Node's in his 7th, the retrogrades in his 9th house Sun, it's kind of like him being do I want to be with somebody? Do I not? Do I want to be with somebody? Do I not? Am I available? What do I need? What do I believe in? And as all these conjunctions are happening between Venus and Mercury and Pluto in his 9th or on his Sun, it's do I want relationships? Do I want freedom? And it's interesting because the 2 of Swords is not knowing how to make a decision. So he's not gone. He hasn't completely disengaged yet. 6 of Swords is making me wonder, is it a matter of reaching out to him and being hey, where is this going? Because the 6 of Swords talks about moving on to easier times, better times, more harmonious places and relationships. I don't mean other people, but like literally saying to him, like, are you going through something? Do you need some space? Can we go away together? I mean, that might be another really good idea with the Six of Swords is the confirmation card of being like, do you want to go somewhere for the weekend and like spend some time with him for a day and a night or something, or offer to do that just to kind of get a vibe check, right? He's the one asked to be together for New Year's, just been cold lately. Yeah. I would say spend time with him if that's something that you guys have planned. And I still feel like either spending time and getting a day or two in and like going somewhere and doing something, or asking him, where do you see this going? I'm going to give him some slack here with the eclipses in his first and his seventh and the retrograde over his sun. He's reevaluating his philosophy and his belief on life. What's nice is all these planets in Capricorn are sextiling the South Node in the seventh. So literally traveling, going away, being somewhere might be the answer. Give it a little bit more time because he's not gone, but I think he's just being more contemplative. And I also think that he's a little bit in his head right now. And things may ease up a little bit in the weeks ahead. Oh, he's going through a bad divorce, of course. Yeah, the retrograde conjunct Venus is ninth, legal issues. Getting away and getting outside of that, I'm not going to say that environment, but getting out of that routine is really going to be quite positive. That can be really, really helpful for what's going on. So the South Node eclipses are going to, I mean, there's going to be an eclipse in the spring that's going to be like 14, 15 degrees of Scorpio. That's finalizing it for him. So it's really going to take, even though he's going through it now, it's going to take until about April, May until that's done. And then things are going to start to ease off. So it might be a good idea for you to be like, do you need some space? Like, do you need some time? Like, what's going on? So that way you have more clarity, right? And I think it's also important to tell him, like, I'm not going anywhere, right? I'm not going anywhere. I know you're kind of in limbo and you're going through something, but the lack of communication, I don't know what's happening. So if you want me to wait, I'll wait. Just let me know what's going on, right? That's all. But he's not going anywhere. I hope you get to spend time with him for New Year's and have that conversation with him. That can be a breakthrough with the retrograde. You are very welcome. Hey, Marsha. She says, what's on my next career path? I left my traditional paralegal career after 30 years and decided to take a year off. That timeline rolls in March of 2023. Pretty lost about it, what I want to do. And what I want to do, only sure I don't want to do anything traditional. Okay, I like it. So let's take a look. I mean, 29, 30 years is a Saturn cycle, so you did your due diligence. But that timeline is up in 2023, so let's take a look. Obviously, you're a Saggy. I mean, I do not remember your rising sign, so I apologize, but just knowing that the eclipses in the North Node are going to be, and Jupiter are going to be happening in Aries, it's great for all Sag placements to find something they're really passionate about that they love. 5 houses from your sign is also about sometimes self-employment. 13 degrees Aquarius rising. Okay, so still Jupiter's going to go into your 5th house. So, I mean, working with money, yeah, still can be a thing. Or, excuse me, you did paralegal. So this could be, I know you don't want to do that, but I think of like legal documents and aiding people who are self-employed and figuring out how to like open up their own businesses or LLCs or incorporate. That could be something you could do. Jupiter is law. Let's see. So these are the cards that popped out for you. So we've got the King of Wands, the Two of Coins, the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups popped out with the 5 of Cups reversed. So that tells me that there's some like, okay, I want to get started on something new, but I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to be disappointed. That seems to be the theme that's going on for you right now. King of Wands talks about like an entrepreneurial spirit. It can talk about a fire sign man, so connecting with somebody who can be an Aries, a Leo, or a Sag. Also, I know you're a Sagittarius sun, I think, from what you just said. So that coming up makes me feel like you being like, okay, I'm going to initiate something and like really start working on something and like putting my heart and soul into it. But it can get to a point where you're like, do I invest more time? Do I know enough about what I'm doing? And it can be something in regards to like doing, like it's weird, you know, spiritual work, healing work, anything that is in regards to, intuitive stuff. It's like, what are you most passionate about? But you're going to be like a couple months into some of these things going like, okay, you know, am I good enough to do this? And you have to really be careful of the fear of not being good enough, right? You could reinvent your skills just knowing of, you know, some of the transits that you're going to be having. If you're an Aquarius rising, Mars is retrograde right now in your whole sign 5th. So there's like a lot of like, what am I good at? What have I done? And Gemini's documents. So I'm wondering if there's like ways for you to be able to like consider taking what you know about legal documentation and like working with or creating content or talking to people about how to navigate legally, you know, becoming self-employed and like knowing, you know, how to be able to do those things. It can also be like creative contracts. So drawing up a bunch of contracts for people who are contract worker or gig workers, or people who have small businesses that need to create contracts. So maybe it's about having a bunch of stuff that you sell that maybe can be kind of like personalized for people who, you know, have smaller businesses and they need to kind of run stuff. But it looks like you're going to go back and forth between two things. You know, there's like what you're really passionate about and then what you feel emotionally kind of safer doing. And I would say there is something here about either spiritual work, intuitive work, healing type work, something like that is kind of coming up here. And that you're really drawn to it, but you're like, oh, what if it doesn't work out? You know, you have to be really careful with fear, because fear can creep in and you can be setting yourself up to be like, oh, I know I shouldn't have done X, Y, and Z. And it's like, you don't want to go in that direction. I also recommend not feeling like everything has to be black and white right now, because the 2 of Wands reversed is saying, you don't want to feel like you're doing too much or that it has to be all or nothing. It's about trying more than one thing and seeing what sticks and what resonates with you before really kind of making the jump and making a change, right? You'd love to teach paralegal courses. I mean, I think that the King of Wands talks about what you're passionate about, and the 2 of Coins is saying, can I find another way to do this, right? So I would say like that's a definite clear path of taking the type of work that you've been doing and finding a way to kind of breathe new life into it and reinvent it. And I would say stay open to some of these other things that seem like they're more creative or that they're a little bit different or a little bit out of your wheelhouse. And you'll probably start, you know, participating in some of that stuff more, I think in April, May, June. But there's a way to be able to reinvent what you've been doing, right? And it's possible that you're looking at doing this with another person. So you might take on a business partner or something like that and start working with them. I'm also wondering, like, is it a matter of you just wanting to do legal type work with more creative people? Like, I think like self-employed people, especially Mars retrograde in your 5th. Like, how can I go and work with people who are self-employed? Or like, what types of people need contracts or they need guidance on this stuff? And like, how can I create stuff that's going to be more affordable? You would be surprised how many people are out there that are like, oh, I have a small business and I'm like doing this deal with somebody and like I need a contract, but I can't hire an attorney. There is a market for people who need to be able to do contractual stuff or have something that is going to be at least like legally binding, that's worded correctly and put together correctly. And like that might be another avenue for you, so you can provide that to creatives, right? Don't give up though, because there's a lot of stuff here that's about staying really connected to some of your emotional or kind of like spiritual development stuff. And yeah, time to kick imposter syndrome to the curb. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Marsha. Yeah, I mean, I have so many clients, and I've been in those situations too, that I'm like, do I really need to hire an attorney? Like, I need this contract and I need it to be appropriate, but like, where do you find that? Like, there's something there. If you were into creating that for people, there is a market for it. What's up, David? Davers is in the chat. Last but definitely not the least is Anjali. How are you, my dear? Hi, Candace. I have 2 questions, but the tarot will lean towards one or the other. I'm wondering when I'll lose weight and when I'm finding a good one for me. Find someone good for me, excuse me. All right, so questions about losing weight and relationships. Anjali, remind me your sun, moon, and rising again. I can't quite remember. You're welcome, Marsha. Sun in Pisces, Gemini rising, Libra moon. Okay, I'm just wondering because of you're asking questions about weight gain. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's a bummer. Okay, so Mars going retrograde in your first house, Mercury going retrograde in your 6th house is definitely a time where you're kind of recalibrating what's going on with your health and your body, and also like how your mind affects your routines, right? And how on top of your routines are. So Mercury retrograde in the 6th is, how do I change what I'm eating? How do I change my schedule? Am I working too much? Am I eating too late? Timing is a thing because it's Capricorn. And one thing I would say is like Gemini risings, they need to walk around and they need air. So literally walking, going outside and walking. I know you might, I think, where do you live in? You're in Chicago, right? Could probably be a little too cold for that right now. So I'm wondering like if you're working from home, can you get a standing desk? Can you do one of those, like they sell like those flat, it's almost like a treadmill, but it's just a pad, right? So that's part of this, is just finding more ways to kind of get your steps in. Just food for thought if you're working from home. And yeah, the Mars retrograde in your 1st house is about kind of recalibrating some of your energy levels. So for Gemini risings, walking is very, very good. Yeah, it's too cold. Look into getting one of those, like a standing desk and a walking pad. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're a Gemini rising, if you're not walking, you're going to feel like you're going crazy. And consider looking into like fasting. I'm not a doctor, but Capricorn in the 6th, if you practice eating at a certain time and not eating after certain times, like pick a time window that you're going to eat, right? And not eat past that certain time or not eat earlier. And portioning is important with Capricorn in the 6th house. Lots of like iron and lightweight lifting and making sure that you're getting enough vitamin D, okay? It's important for your chart. All right, so let's see what the cards say, what you need to know in terms of health and weight loss or a relationship. And consider maybe seeing somebody for like a foot reflexology, because you're a Pisces. And if Neptune is anywhere near your personal Pisces placements, there can be like swelling, or like the body can get bloated because of salt. So too much salt, too little salt, whatever, you can have issues with circulatory stuff and also liquids. You can be absorbing too much water weight. Intermittent fasting is the way to go. That's when I was doing low carb a couple years ago and intermittent fasting, like 3 or 4 months of that, and it was like night and day difference. Okay, so we've got 5 of Swords, 9 of Wands, 8 of Coins. So, I mean, like, you know, there's quite a few things going on here right now. I think with the 5 of Swords, it's like feeling like mentally a little frazzled, and that there's just so much stuff going on that you don't even know where to start, and that you're getting frustrated because you need to kind of get some things that are leveled out a little bit. It's also about being mindful of your words, like how you're communicating with yourself, how you're talking to your body, right? Remember, your body's made up completely of water, or mostly of water, and it's going to respond to how you treat it. So rather than going against the grain and getting frustrated and getting kind of mad that you're not seeing results or whatever, that's actually making things more difficult, and it's delaying things. The nine of Wands coming up reversed is also saying, like, I'm sick and tired of doing this by myself. I need some help. So it's about bringing new people in on this. If you need to make a change, you know, with your doctors, if you feel like you need to get like a motivational coach, if you feel like you need to get a trainer, anything like that can be really helpful. So you feel like you're not having to go at this by yourself. You're not having to go at it alone, right? Notice he's also got a bandage on his head, and he's standing there and he's like, oh, I don't know how much more I can take. I would encourage you, because this can be a very overwhelming card, that if you're looking at making changes, make small changes at a time. Right? So if you're like, hey, I need to get active, I would say, great. Just start with getting active and make a commitment to being active for a half an hour a day, right? Just do that every day. Then once you start getting into the habit, you've got that down pat where you know you're going for your walk, or you know you're lifting your weights or doing your bands or whatever it is that you're doing, then implement the next thing. Don't throw the kitchen sink at it. Don't be like, I have to do this and this, this, and this. No, no, no. Take your time, because you're going to get overwhelmed. But if you need help, and if you feel like you need to talk to a dietitian, or you need to talk to a trainer or a fitness coach, or just somebody who's going to kind of help you get like more support, or feeling more incentivized to like want to do this, it's going to help you so you don't feel like you have to do it alone. The good news is the 8 of coins comes up saying that you're going to see results. It's like working hard, being consistent, and seeing that payoff and perfecting it. And so one thing I would say is like coins always deal with time, resources, food, health. So can this mean it's going to take you several months to see, you know, your goal completely? Yeah, but I don't think it's just about losing weight. I think it's about eating better. I don't think it's just about having better habits. I think it's also about knowing that to some extent your work life or your work schedule is actually affecting your ability to feel like you're making your health a priority. So it's not about losing weight, it's learning how to eat. It's not about losing weight, it's learning how to manage your time better. It's learning also about nutrients and what food is going to be more beneficial for your body, and it's going to help you feel more productive, right? Think of it like that. And it's going to be hard work. It always is. But I think that's kind of the beauty maybe of making those changes, is once you put in the work and the effort, you're less likely to fall back into old patterns. And so what I like about the 8 of coins is it's saying you don't just make the change to, you know, improve your physical appearance, you feel more productive. So you're going to be able to get more done. You're going to feel like you can be more active. You're actually going to be eating better. And it's going to be something that you kind of stick with moving forward. So yeah, it may take 8 months from start to finish for you to kind of fully do this, but I don't think it's going to take that long for you to see results. I think it's just a matter of like these becoming habits and routines that kind of stick with you for some time. And it's going to feel not like it's hard work by the time that you're getting a couple months into this. But, you know, just knowing what I know about your chart, I mean, all of my Gemini risings are going through the same thing. How do I make changes in my health? What's going on with my health, with my diet, with my mind? It's all connected. And I would say definitely there's so many, I was looking at a lot of those like little pads and things. There's so much stuff with like New Year's right now that's like on sale because everybody wants to get more physically active, you know? But it looks like you're going to be successful. I would say just don't hesitate to ask for help. And it might even be a good idea for you to check in with a community and maybe find like a group or like be doing this with other friends for accountability. Because to me, it seems like you spend a lot of time alone, or you're at home a lot, or like you're not going out a lot. So having that support from another person or from a group of people can be great to incentivize you to kind of keep going and finally get the results that you're looking for. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. 'Tis the season. Everybody feels that way. All right, let me just make sure I got everyone here. I'm pretty sure I did. I know we've had some people that have stayed with us all the way through. You guys are awesome. Hopefully you've had a good Saturday. Yeah, it looks like we got everyone. So with that being said, we posted the link for the live show that is going to be on New Year's Day. So obviously we did this on Friday because tomorrow is New Year's Eve. So I hope you guys have a happy and a healthy New Year's Eve. I hope you guys have a good time and you enjoy it. We'll be having that live on Sunday morning. I hope you join me. We're going to talk about all the astrology for 2023. I'm putting together a whole slideshow. It's going to be in depth for all the 12 signs. We're going to talk about major planetary movement. We've got Pluto changing signs going into Aquarius. Saturn's going into Pisces. Jupiter's going to go into Taurus. We've got the nodes changing signs. 2023 is a very different year. I'm excited to dive into it. I'm going to be doing it for you guys for free. If you want to make donations to that, I'll make that available if you'd like to do that. And it's not too late to pick up my 2023 calendar, or if you want to book a reading with me, click my links below. Go to my website at beyondtheveiledtarot.com. You can schedule a one-on-one session with me, live recorded on Zoom, where we can dive deep into your chart and also take a look at the tarot. And if you want to learn astrology with me, I'm going to be teaching my live classes starting in January. I think it's going to be on the 22nd. 8 consecutive Sundays that we're going to be teaching advanced astrology. So we're going to start talking about return charts, transits. I'm going to teach you guys all the tricks and all the tips that I have for making predictions looking at natal charts. So I'm excited for that as well. If you guys want to join, that is going to be up for a few more weeks on my website. Also, come and study with me. It's going to be super fun, and we're going to do it live in my digital classroom. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of the weekend. Happy New Year's, and I will see all of you guys on Sunday. You guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.